Dr. Joe Dispenza emerged as a trailblazer, a solitary figure lighting the way into an uncharted domain, where the rigid boundaries of science intertwine with the mystical, flowing dance of consciousness and reality itself. His revolutionary theory that the delicate threads of matter and mind are not separate but intricately woven into a single, vast cosmic tapestry, propelled him into the global spotlight after the documentary. We know what the signal does. Illuminated screens across the world with its flickering brilliance. At the core of his profound revelation lies an astonishing and transformative truth: the brain. That complex and wondrous labyrinth of gray matter nestled within the skull blurs the fragile line between what is tangible and what is merely imagined, rendering them nearly indistinguishable. To the brain's tirelessly humming neurons, a vivid thought, a fleeting, ephemeral whisper born of the mind, holds the same undeniable weight as the solid, pulsing, sensory world we reach out to touch with our hands. This radical notion suggests that our perceptions, shaped by the interplay of neurons firing in unison, transcend the ordinary limits of physical reality, challenging everything we thought we knew. Dispenza's work invites us to reconsider the power we wield within the silent chambers of our own minds, where the boundaries between the real and the conjured dissolve like mist under the morning sun. Beneath the shimmering surface of his celebrated discoveries lies a deeply personal story few have heard, one carved from the raw materials of pain, perseverance, and unshakable resilience. Imagine a young Joe Dispenza, broken and gasping for breath, sprawled helplessly on the unforgiving asphalt after a car's brutal, merciless strike shattered his spine into jagged fragments. Doctors, cloaked in their sterile certainty and armed with cold instruments, presented him with a grim ultimatum: submit to a surgical fusion of his fractured vertebrae with unyielding metal implants. A mechanical fix that promised a lifetime overshadowed by persistent, aching torment stretching endlessly before him. Defiant in the face of their prognosis, Dispenza rejected the cold gleam of their scalpels, turning instead to the fragile, uncharted, and fiercely untested power of his own mind to heal what science deemed irreparable. 9 months later, against all odds and medical expectations, he rose from his bed, his step shaky yet triumphant, a living, breathing testament to the quiet, indomitable might of focused thought. This crucible of suffering, forged in the fires of his own body's betrayal, became the genesis of his relentless, lifelong quest to plumb the mysterious depths of human consciousness and its untapped potential. His journey into this enigmatic realm began with the faint, compelling voices of the miraculous, those rare, extraordinary souls who somehow defied the icy grip of death through spontaneous remission, rewriting their fates. These were individuals who, in the face of stark disbelief from white-coated physicians wielding charts and scalpels, shed grave, life-threatening illnesses like old, tattered skins, without a single pill swallowed or a surgeon's blade ever touching their flesh. In hushed, reverent conversations with these survivors, Dispenza uncovered a shared, unshakable conviction that pulsed through their stories. Thought reigned supreme over the frail, fleeting shell of matter we call the body. To them, the mind stood as a sovereign healer, a master sculptor capable of reshaping flesh and bone with the precision of an artist, mending any rift and curing any blight that dared to take root. This belief, as resolute and radiant as the breaking dawn, became the cornerstone of Dispenza's exploration, a guiding light illuminating his path through the shadows of doubt. Their experiences whispered a truth he could not ignore: that the mind's quiet power might hold the key to transcending the limitations of the physical world we so often accept as absolute. Dr. Dispenza's theory throbs with a radical, electrifying idea: every fleeting moment we live, every tear that falls, every laugh that echoes out, ignites a dazzling symphony of neurons, a breathtaking fireworks display within the confines of the skull that reverberates outward to reshape our very essence. Through the unwavering force of focused attention, consciousness becomes an architect, forging intricate synaptic bridges, delicate yet enduring connections between nerve cells that shimmer with potential. Repetition. Those persistent, echoing thoughts and familiar, recurring feelings, weaves these fragile links into rich, neural tapestries, intricate networks that cradle our memories like treasures held in the palm of a hand. Like a compass needle trembling toward true north, each neural network guides the body's intricate dance with the world around us, whispering subtle instructions on how to respond when the faint shadows of the past resurface to haunt us. These internal maps, etched by experience, steer us through life's unpredictable currents, shaping our actions with a precision we rarely notice. Dispenza's vision reveals the brain as a living canvas, constantly painted and repainted by the brushstrokes of our thoughts. A masterpiece of adaptation that reflects both who we are and who we might become. Dispenza unveils a haunting, inescapable truth. Our past is not a distant, fading echo but a living, breathing script, etched deep within the brain's sprawling neural lattice with an indelible hand. These networks, painstakingly sculpted by yesterday's fleeting joys and jagged scars, color every glance we cast upon the world, tinting its vibrant hues with the subtle shades of memory that linger within us. We convince ourselves that our reactions spring forth fresh and unbidden, but in reality, they are marionettes, graceful yet unwitting, tugged by the invisible strings of these ancient, silent circuits that serve as the mind's unseen puppeteers. This revelation carries a weighty implication. What we perceive as freedom in our choices is often an illusion, a delicate mirage shaped by patterns we scarcely recognize as our own. Our thoughts, our feelings, our very instincts, they are all echoes of a history we carry within, a legacy that governs us until we dare to rewrite it. Dispenza's work challenges us to peer into this hidden machinery, to see the strings for what they are, and to seize the power to cut them loose with the sharp blade of awareness. Imagine this vivid scene. Every object we encounter, a rusted key lying forgotten, a stranger's fleeting smile, strikes a resonant chord within this hidden orchestra of the mind, igniting a neural network that surges to life with purpose. This activation floods the body with a cascading torrent of chemicals, invisible elixirs brewed in the depths of our being that dictate our fate in that fleeting moment. To flee in primal terror or stand rooted in calm resolve. To bask in radiant joy or drown in the depths of sorrow. To blaze with untamed passion or slump into the gray haze of despair. Our emotions, those wild and untamed tides we ride through life, are nothing less than alchemical brews, stirred in the bubbling cauldron of past experiences that simmer beneath the surface. In truth, we rarely greet reality raw and unfiltered, stripped of its veils. Instead, we perceive it through the cracked, weathered lens of yesteryear's ghosts, who whisper their tales into every sensation we feel. This interplay between memory and moment defines us, locking us into patterns we mistake for destiny until we learn to see beyond the distortion. Dispenza's insight lays bare this subtle tyranny, urging us to question the lenses we wear, and to polish them with the cloth of conscious intent until the world shines clear and new. Neurophysiology offers a golden, timeless rule, elegant in its simplicity yet profound in its reach. Nerves that fire together, wire together, binding themselves into a union forged by experience. Experiences, replayed like a favorite song echoing through the years, braid neurons into tight, knit clans, networks born of habit and polished to a sheen by the steady hand of time. Leave these pathways dormant, untouched by thought or action, and they fray, dissolving into the silent ether like threads unspooled. But press their trigger often, with intention or neglect, and they solidify into reflexes, automatic as the rise and fall of breath itself. Thus, habits take deep root, blossoming from the steady, unyielding rhythm of repetition. Their tendrils curling around the core of who we are until they feel as natural as our own skin. These neural clans become the architects of our daily lives, scripting our movements and reactions with a quiet authority we rarely challenge. Dispenza's science reveals this process as both a gift and a cage, a mechanism we can harness to build new strengths or one that traps us in cycles we long to escape, depending on the choices we make. Before a thought can fully bloom into awareness, your body leaps ahead, a loyal hound trained by the taut leash of neural habit, eager to obey its master's call. Ponder this marvel: your quirks, your routines, the very essence of who you are. All are but shimmering constellations of these enduring networks, fragile stars scattered across the vast sky of your mind that you can dim or brighten with a single, mindful gaze. Focus your will like a beam of light. Choose your aim with care, and watch as new pathways flare to life, rewriting the intricate map of your soul with every deliberate step you take. This power lies within reach, a quiet promise that hums beneath the surface of our ordinary days, waiting for us to claim it with courage and clarity. Dispenza's teachings beckon us to wield this gift, to sculpt ourselves anew by tending to the neural garden within, pruning the old and nurturing the new. It is a call to awaken, to see the self not as a fixed monument but as a river in motion, ever capable of carving new channels through the stone of habit. Once, science crowned the brain a rigid, unyielding monarch, its dominion fixed and immutable, a fortress of gray matter resistant to change. Yet neurophysiologists now sing a different, vibrant tune. Every experience, each fleeting thrill that races the pulse, each quiet ache that lingers in the bones, reshapes this sovereign realm, sparking countless transformations that cascade through flesh and blood like ripples on a still pond. In his book, The Evolution of Our Brain, The Science of Changing Our Consciousness, Dispenza poses a chilling, provocative question: if we summon dark, rooting storms of thought, poisoning our body with their bitter venom, might the shadow state settle in as our new normal, a twisted crown we unwittingly wear upon our brow? This possibility looms as both warning and invitation, an urgent call to guard the thoughts we harbor, and a bold challenge to reshape them with purpose and grace. The brain, once thought a static ruler, emerges instead as a pliable kingdom, molded by the winds of our inner world and responsive to the hands that guide it. Dispenza's inquiry pierces the veil of complacency, daring us to confront the shadows we cast within and to ask what legacy we wish to forge in their place. To test the mind's sovereign dominion, Dispenza crafted an experiment as elegant as it was audacious, a quiet rebellion against the limits of the physical. One group, their fingers calloused and resolute, pressed a spring, loaded device for an hour each day, their muscles straining against the unyielding resistance of metal with sweat and grit. Another group, still and silent as statues, merely pictured the act in their minds, tracing each press with vivid, crystalline detail as if their hands truly moved. Yet their bodies remained untouched by the effort. The outcome stunned even the skeptics. The first group's fingers grew 30% stronger, their strength carved by tangible toil, while the dreamers, those who wielded only the invisible weapon of thought, gained an astonishing 22%, their sinews forged in the fires of imagination alone. Here was proof, etched in the living tissue of muscle and bone. The brain's tireless neural forge knows no boundary between the real and the conjured, its power spilling beyond the skull to shape the flesh it commands. This discovery stands as a beacon, illuminating the vast potential that lies dormant within the theater of our minds. With this, Dispenza unveiled a seismic, earth-shaking truth to the brain's ceaselessly laboring neurons. A memory's faint echo rings as true as a hammer's resounding blow upon an anvil. Dwell on shadows, fearful whispers that curl in the dark, bitter regrets that gnaw at the spirit, and the mind, blind to their falsehood, summons sickness, dread, or rage, etching them deep into the body's fragile, yielding frame like scars upon soft clay. Thought, then, emerges as both creator and destroyer, a double-edged blade we wield with every breath, its edge honed by the choices we make in the quiet of our own souls. This duality demands our attention, for it reveals the stakes of our inner world. What we nurture within us grows, whether it be light or shadow, healing or harm. Dispenza's insight casts thought as a sculptor's chisel, capable of crafting beauty or ruin depending on the hand that guides it. It is a truth as exhilarating as it is sobering, a reminder that we hold the reins of our own becoming, steering toward wholeness or fracture with every fleeting notion we entertain. From his studies emerges another revelation, shimmering with crystalline insight. Our emotions, those unruly and turbulent currents that sweep through us, are sculpted by neural networks into unconscious, well-worn scripts. These patterns tilt us toward familiar responses. Anger's sudden flare that burns hot and bright. Joy's fleeting glow that fades too soon, locking us into life's weary, predictable cycles like actors bound to a stage. We stumble over the same jagged stones, blind to their origin, trapped in a dance we never chose to learn, our steps guided by forces we scarcely understand. Yet this need not be our fate, for Dispenza's work lights a path beyond the script, a way to rewrite the lines and step free of the choreography that binds us. These emotional habits, though deeply etched, are not immutable. They are clay awaiting the potter's hand, ready to be reshaped by the steady pressure of awareness. His teachings whisper of liberation, urging us to see the patterns for what they are and to dare to compose a new melody with the notes of our own choosing. The culprit behind this cycle is stark yet elegantly simple. Each emotion surges forth from a chemical cocktail, a potent potion brewed within the hidden alembics of our being, that the body learns to crave like a parched traveler seeking water. Like an addict chasing the ghost of a fading high, we cling to these intoxicating blends, bitterness that stings the tongue, bliss that lifts the heart, or despair that weighs the soul, until they define us, becoming the very air we breathe. But see this craving for what it truly is, a biochemical tether woven by habit, and freedom glimmers on the horizon, a faint but steady light. With conscious intent, sharp as a blade and steady as stone, we can snap these chains, stepping boldly into the radiant light of choice where new possibilities bloom. Dispenza's science offers a key to this prison, a tool to unlock the body's dependence on its own elixirs, and to craft a self unbound by the past. It is an invitation to stand at the edge of the known and leap, trusting that the mind's power can catch us and carry us toward a horizon of our own design. In his lecture, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, Dispenza wields quantum physics like a poet's quill, sketching an era where knowledge is not a passive gift, but a clarion call to action that resounds through the ages. His voice rings clear and commanding. Why wait for some golden hour, some arbitrary dawn painted in hues of promise, to reshape your mind and life when the power lies within you now? Stop, he urges with fervor. Those daily shadows, judgment that narrows the gaze, complaint that sours the tongue, irritation that frays the spirit, and cast them aside with the strength of your will. Begin now, with the boundless courage of a child stepping fearlessly into the vast unknown. This is no mere philosophy, but a summons to battle, to wage war against the mundane and emerge victorious, remade in the fire of intention. Dispenza's words are a spark, igniting the tinder of our latent potential, indie daring us to fan it into a blaze that consumes the old and births the new. He calls us to rise, to seize this fleeting moment with both hands, and to wield our consciousness like a torch against the darkness of habit, illuminating a path only we can walk. Shatter the mundane, he pleads with a passion that stirs the soul. Refuse to judge for a single day. Silence the grumbling tide that rises unbidden, or quench irritation's sharp spark before it flares into flame. Reverse the small, familiar rituals. brush your teeth before washing your face, a quiet defiance of routine, or offer forgiveness, unbidden and free, like a gift carried on the wind to someone who may never know its source. These tiny rebellions against the ordinary ignite a strange, sweet alchemy within, a tingling promise of change that courses through your veins, like a river breaking free of its banks. Each act of disruption, however small, becomes a pebble dropped into the still waters of the self, sending ripples outward that reshape the shores of who we are. Dispenza's challenge is a dare to play with the fabric of our days, to weave new threads into the tapestry of our lives, and feel the thrill of creation thrumming beneath our skin. It is a call to awaken the alchemist within, to stir the cauldron of the mind, and distill something extraordinary from the raw material of the everyday. Learn, he whispers with a gentleness that belies its strength, to cradle your own soul as you would a dear friend's, to gaze inward with unflinching clarity and a heart unafraid of what it might find. Ask the hard, piercing questions. Who am I beneath this mask I wear? Why does sorrow cling to me like a second skin? What chains must I break to stand free? And feel the tremor of awakening ripple through your being like the first quake of a new dawn. To choose a new response, to shed the old skin of habit, is to spark an inner revolution, a quiet uprising that redraws the boundaries of the self with every courageous answer. With each deliberate shift in thought, the body follows like a shadow cast by a turning light, shedding illness like a worn cloak flung aside, birthing a self anew in the quiet, steady fire of awareness that burns within. Dispenza's vision is a promise fulfilled, a testament that we are not bound by the flesh or the past, but are instead creators of our own becoming, sculptors of a destiny forged in the crucible of the present. It is an invitation to step into this power, to dance with the infinite possibilities of the mind, and to emerge transformed, whole, and radiant in the light of a world made new.